everybody. My name is Tiffany, and I'm a speech language pathologist and a person who stutters. If you've seen my videos before, you know that almost all my videos are about stuttering. So today I'm going to do something totally different, though. So if you're here to watch a video about stuttering, you may or may not be interested in this. But being a speech language pathologist, and also having my background originally in linguistic anthropology, I'm super into accents. And I have, more knowledge than the typical person about accents. And so I'm very, I love to study them, to analyze them and stuff, especially American accents. And I decided to do a video because I'm kind of over everyone saying, oh, I don't have an accent. Especially people in, Washington, California, Ohio, stuff like that. Because we do. Everyone has an accent. That's one of my soapboxes. Because we have arbitrarily defined a standard American accent, based in Ohio for most people's standards. But even that accent is just what people said was standard. So it doesn't actually mean it's an actual, it doesn't mean you don't have an accent. Everyone has an accent. It's just the way that you talk is your accent, based on your region. And so I have an accent. I have a Washingtonian accent for the most part. I did live in Tennessee for 3 years, and so a couple words here and there will have a Tennessee touch to it. But I have a very kind of stereotypical Washingtonian accent. And so what I'm going to do today is kind of show you guys that and kind of analyze my own accent to show you that Washingtonians do have an accent. And not only do they have an accent, but they have an accent that actually deviates from the typical standard American, which is something that a lot of people don't think of. So I'm going to do the Tumblr accent challenge, which is super old, but it's a great kind of test of words that people say differently in different regions. So I'm going to read a bunch of words out. For anyone who watches my YouTube videos about stuttering, I'm going to slip into covert mode and so that I can read more fluently. So in case you all are critiquing as to why I don't stutter that much right now, that's why. So the words are ant, envelope, root, theater, caught, salmon, caramel, fire, coupon, tumbler, pecan, both, again, probably, GPOY, lawyer, water, mayonnaise, pajamas, iron, naturally, aluminum, GIF, New Orleans, Cracker Jack, doorknob, Alabama. So I would love to hear what you guys think as far as which of those words are different from how you all say it. I will say all of these words except New Orleans are definitely standard Washingtonian. New Orleans, the way I say it is mostly because of how people in Tennessee say it, somewhere between Tennessee and Washington. Because people in Tennessee, where I'm from, the part that I lived in anyway, would say New Orleans probably, or something closer to that. But then people in Washington usually say New Orleans, which living in Tennessee, I can't bring myself to say because everyone in the South thinks you're stupid if you say it that way. So I say it kind of in between those two. So that's the only one that's kind of deviant from my region. Probably the weirdest one, I think, of those words that you guys probably picked up on is the word both. That word is BOTH. So both is how most people say it. Obviously, I sound really weird when I say it that way because I'm trying really hard. But the way we say it here is both. And if you want to replicate that, you put your TH behind your teeth instead of in front. Or sorry, in between. So the TH sound is usually where your tongue is between your teeth. But in our version of that word, our tongue is behind our teeth. Slightly. Both. Actually, quite a bit, yeah. And then you add an L color to your O. And it's kind of nasalized and in the back of your throat. So if you think of it kind of sounds like you're swallowing your tongue when you're saying the word. It's probably the grossest thing that we say in our accent. It doesn't sound pleasant when we say it like that, but it's our accent, so whatever. Those are probably the biggest ones. Probably Oh, probably is how I say probably most of the time. So that's another one. You kind of drop that syllable. Um, I think root is kind of weird. I think some people say route. Um, and then theater, we have probably this one of the most standard things in our accent is what's called an alveolar tap instead of a T sound. So in most words where T is in the middle of words, we will replace it with somewhere between a T and a D sound. So it's where your tongue kind of touches the roof of your mouth, like behind your teeth. It's called your alveolar ridge, where the T is usually made. You touch it really quick, and you don't make a total T. You just kind of move on with the word, and so it's called an alveolar tap because you tap your alveolar ridge pretty quickly. So that's like pretty standard in our accent most of the time. Like water, mountain. Oh, I guess in mountain we say an N instead of a T, which is kind of the same thing. You're still at the same spot, but um, you're nasalizing your sound, so it makes it an N. And then words like that. Let's see other words that are kind of odd. I think envelope. Everyone says some people say envelope. That's whatever. Pecan is very I think it's almost person dependent at this point because there are regional differences on that word, but they're so common. I would say that like there doesn't, in my accent anyway, people don't all say it one way. So some people say pecan, some people say pecan. My parents say pecan, which I think is a pretty standard thing here, but I think it's weird. I don't think I've ever said it that way. Mayonnaise, I think maybe is different. I'm not sure. Naturally, I guess is fast. I don't know. I think the most part is pretty standard. It's just like both is a big one. And then there's another thing on here that's really fun where you answer questions about like different words you use because that's another part of a dialect is like the words you use, not just the way you say them. So I'll read those questions. The ones that are interesting anyway. So what is it called when someone throws toilet paper on the house? I call it TPing. I think there are a bunch of other weird words for that. People will say different things. Oh, this is a good one. What is that bubbly carbonated beverage called? I call it pop. Some people here will call it soda. I know where I lived in Tennessee, we called it Coke. But I've always called it pop my whole life. And it's something that definitely in Spokane, which is the part of Washington I'm originally from, most people say pop there. But now I live in Seattle. I think most people say soda. Soda. So yeah. What term do you use for gym shoes? Tennis shoes, which is I think pretty common. What do you call grandparents? Grandma and grandpa. I don't have any fun names for them. Like most people in Tennessee have a fun name for their grandparents. We don't. Although the way we say grandma and grandpa, like it's not grandma and grandpa. It's like GRAMMA, grandma and grandpa, GRAMPA. So that's a little bit different. What do you use to change channels on TV? Remote. So some people call it like a clicker or something like that. There's a bunch of weird ones actually about that one. So I would say like for features of the Washington accent, the biggest ones are the word both, specifically that word. Some people will say like as a, so like in words like big, some people will say instead of bag, they'll say big or flag, things like that. Those are not as common, but some people, it's about half and half, I think. Some people say it that way, some people don't. Salmon is something we say here that a lot of people in other places will call salmon. We say you guys and instead of y'all or you-ins or yous guys or anything like that. So like that's one of the interesting ones around the country. People have different ways of saying you plural. So here we say you guys, which I kind of hate because it's kind of like a gendered thing. But it's definitely something that I naturally say. Yeah, so those are the big ones. There aren't like super big differences between the Washington accent and like the standard American, but I would say like Ohio, it has like a very harsh sound. So that's another thing that we don't necessarily do. So they'll say like bag. They'll just have it more be a harsher A. I can't even imitate it very well, but that's something that I think is more specific to Ohio, less specific to like kind of a more standard accent. Um, but it's something that we deviate from in that way. So yeah, so that's what I wanted to do today is kind of talk about accents. I think they're super interesting, and I think it's important to like know that you're not like typical, like just because your accent is not super like strong, like a New York accent or like a Boston accent, um it doesn't mean you don't have an accent. You have an accent, everyone has an accent. An accent is just a way of talking that is kind of defined by your region that you live in, and everyone has their own little unique ways of speaking, based on their region and also based on themselves. So that's called an idiolect. But anyway, so that's just a fun little thing. If you guys want to do the accent test yourself, I will post a little link to the Tumblr like challenge, and you guys can see what it's all about. So anyway, I will see you guys all later. Bye.